Guys, have you ever forgotten to water your plants? In the same way, when you do some designs, you might have missed some of its detail. As a designer, it's very common to skip them as we have hundreds of things to focus on. Today, we are gonna share you the tips of things that you, yes I mean you, often forget when designing. Hello everyone and welcome to Designers Uncut episode 2. My name is Kaew. Today, me and my fellow designers, Oat, Ashley, and Varun, will share you the tips of what designers often forget from the design process to hand over to developers. First, we have the style guide tips from Oat.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? My name is Oat. Today I'll show you the most common details that you designers forget when you work on style guide. While style guide is very important, style guide requires a work at the very beginning, but in this long run, these extra works at the very beginning saves you much more time later. So sometimes designers forget something. Today, I'll remark you guys on these little details that you might have skipped, so the next time you step into doing a style guide, you wouldn't forget. Let's start with the first one. States of components. States are visual representation used to communicate to users of each UI status of the components. So dealing with states is very painful, right? I know. But, telling developers of what you want later will make you put much more effort. To give you an example, hover state. Hover occurs when you put a cursor over the button. So in this situation, the user can predict the clickability of each UI component like button, link, image, etc. So please keep in mind that you don't forget these little details. Designing for proper content. Have you ever experienced when you need to do these extra language to your products like Chinese, Japanese, whatever? There are limitations of each language, so you need to prepare for that. Another case would be text imitation. So when you don't know if it's real content, all you need to do is you just mock these texts up. But when it comes to the real content, it might be longer. How would you want it to be displayed? Would you want it to be showed of its whole content, or would you only want to limit just numbers of characters? Or once it's translated into other language, it might be longer or shorter. How would you want it to be displayed? Or sometimes you just got these texts from your clients or your colleagues, but you're just lack of checking everything out. So please remember that you're not copying and pasting. The last one, app icon and fav icon. Imagine when you finish all the works and you send to the clients and everybody's happy, but guys, they don't have these icons. Icons are categorized into iOS and Android, while fav icons are shown when you're on desktop. So why is it important? These color bold text or mascot of its brand identity is a part of users' engagement. So, these little details cause drastic conversion, guys. So please keep in mind that you don't skip out these little details, guys. Alright, to wrap everything up, guys, there are many details that you need to focus on. My tip to you all would be you need to give yourself a time to check everything up so clearly before you hand over to your clients or your colleagues. And at the end of the day, I'm just sure that everybody's happy. Guys, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. And upcoming, Ashley. Hi Ashley, how are you?
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Ashley, and just to add on to what Oak was saying, I'd like to talk about the different states that we tend to forget while designing, because we're so preoccupied in perfecting the best experiences, we tend to forget those in-between states or when things don't quite work out. So, let's get to it. So the first state we're going to talk about are empty states. Look at this page. It's pretty clear that there's no content here, but wouldn't it be better to provide some context, such as visual cues leading the users to the next steps? I've listed down some best practices for empty states. For example, we could be utilizing the space to educate the user, teach the user what's meant to be here. For example, Spotify's inbox tells you what to expect. We could try leading them to an action. The example here would be Etsy on their empty cart page, which encourages you to buy and browse for more items. Or we could simply delight them, because empty states are not confined to first-time experiences or user onboardings. They could also be used on empty search result pages. For example, Eventbrite here suggests similar content. And then we have loading states. Because waiting is such a pain, so why not utilize this moment? Here are some simple approaches that we could use. We could try the more informative approach just by adding a simple animation or a loader to signal to the user that loading is taking place. Or a more progressive approach where we let the user know when loading will be completed. Or we could just make it more delightful. For example, Slack's startup message. On top of a simple loader, they add a quote to keep users engaged while waiting. And lastly, we have 404 pages, because it's really frustrating when what you're looking for is missing. So let's try to correct this negative situation. A really great example here would be Dribbble, which offers a fully functional search in their 404 page, where users can search by typing or by color code, which speaks to us designers directly. And that's about it. I hope this provided you with some inspiration the next time you're designing a certain state. And I'll just pass it over to Varun.
Thank you, Ashley. Next up, the designer handoff. You are all great designers, but are you all great team players? Well, you can be, provided you do the proper designer handoff. And I am going to quickly take you through some key practices that can help you guys in doing a proper designer handoff. So jumping onto Figma, number 1, organize the files. So while doing the designs, have you ever wondered what is going on your layers panel? Well, unless you are someone who have this habit of naming your layers, it is going to actually auto generate all these names for you. And how does it matter to you? No, it doesn't make much of a difference to you, I know that, but when it comes to the developers, they are going to come to your design files and try to download some assets, and these are the random names that they are going to get on their assets. So it's like an extra burden for them to rename it separately. So make sure that you do your job right, and make sure that you organize your file right before the handover is done. Okay, so moving on to the next one, the creating user flow. So what is user flows? So user flows are basically we defining the starting and end point of the designs. So what exactly it is, like it's going to help you or the developers or anyone for that matter to identify the whole user journey and direction. And also it helps in identifying some of the edge cases during the process, like say the error screens or success screens. And Ashley has actually given you the clear idea on what all those edge cases can be. And how to create a user flow, you can actually use simple line tools, or you can also maybe use plugins like autoflow in case of Figma, where you can actually load it up and you can actually connect a button to your screen just by clicking both, and it's done. It's that easy. So make sure that you connect all these user flows, and it's going to be much helpful for the developers. Moving on to the next one, sharing interactive prototypes. So just like user flows, how different is interactive prototypes? It's like an actually virtual product, so where you can add some very cool animation features, some micro interactions, and tools like Figma or Framer X or Adobe XD are actually offering you some cool features to add on to these micro interactions. And I have actually done a basic prototyping here by connecting few screens. So this is the actual result of it. You can actually play around with it, but then remember, this is just a tip of an iceberg. So there is much more to it, much more cool features that are coming up lately, so you can actually play around with that whenever you have time. So in the meantime, we will move on to the next and final one, marking exportable assets. So whenever you are working on your project and making sure that it's websites or iOS or Android, any kinds of native apps for that matter, what you need to do is, based on your platform, you make sure that you mark the assets accordingly. So in this case, if you want to mark this particular asset, you just select that particular asset and then go here and you can add however you want to add the assets. So for some engineers lately, they actually take the initiative and do these things on their own, but for some engineers, they are expecting us to do these kinds of things instead. So make sure that you do your job right. Take that extra effort and do your uh, part of the job by adding these assets properly based on the platform. So yeah, so these are some of the key practices that you can follow and become a great team player. So I hope you have enjoyed it and also hope that you have learned something new for the day. Thanks for listening, guys. Back to Kaew.
Thanks so much everyone for watching. I hope you guys found this tip useful and maybe can apply to what you're working on right now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe us down below. See you in the next episode and have a good day.